Kasese district is home to 5 major rivers, namely Rimi, Mubuku, Nyamwamba, Nyamugasani and Lubiriha. These rivers can become destructive when they overflow, wreaking havoc in their path. This is often a result of erratic weather patterns influenced by global climate change, particularly during heavy rains.
Each time it rains in Kasese district, the rivers overflow, disrupting transportation and impacting various economic activities. As a customary practice, the local population is compelled to patiently await the receding water levels for them to be able to resume their business operations.
Tourism activities are disrupted with, for example, we have the hot springs in Chibenge, the Kiwa Heritage, and also at Kiriba, Kyatumba. During the flooding waters of Nyamwamba, somehow the floods and the silt disorganizes the system of the hot spring itself.
One of the pressing issues is the extraction of sand and stones from rivers like Nyamwamba and Mubuku for construction.
This is one of the human activities that has affected the riverbanks and riverbeds, leading to severe consequences.
They divert the nature of the river. They enhance, they create ditches and gullies in those rivers, and of course it affects the movement of the water in the terms of the flooding.
The workers here do argue that this exercise actually helps the river to flow in its course.
Singa guno musenyi tetugujja mu mazzi yali badde nga yakka ng'eri wansi naye lwakubanga tuba tujjamu omusenyu okitegeera kati buli lwe tujjamu omusenyu nga n'amazzi gasobola okkirira bulungi kyovora ne bridge ekyaliwo tenaba kubikibwa musenyu.
We still have organisms, the bathos organisms that stay on the bottom of a river bed. They are there. Plants, animals are there. So if we extract unsustainably and go beyond the carrying capacity, we shall be causing trouble.
This extraction activity indicates significant investments in the district, with bulldozers operating on a large scale to harvest these raw materials.
As for our department, they are operating illegally. If there is money that's being collected, it's also being collected illegally, because we have never allowed them to collect sand from the river. They are doing it illegally.
We have already investigated and we have already seen that there is a need to control that local illegal mining. Meanwhile, now we have authorized our district division police commander of Kasese division to do massive operation, arrest illegal people who are doing this, and also the casual laborers who are being used by those very people. And that operation have already started until perhaps we get a technical advice.
For many youth in Kasese, sand extraction is a vital livelihood, helping them make ends meet.
Sobodde okuzaala abaana bange babiri omu asoma omulala natera okutandika okusoma mpozi n'okulabirira ku mama kubanga.
The cost of sand varies by the type of truck. A canter is charged 20,000 shillings, a just on 30,000 shillings, and a sino truck 300,000 shillings.
Kale ekyebiri osobola okikola naye ng'oyiribye nnyo oba otuuyanye boyi okufuna ekyebiri kati ng'eyo moroko giraba yagumuka n'aba abapakizi balina ofunako 4,000 bulooka eyagireese tulina ne babulooka akuleetera moroko kiraba kolagamba ffenna tulina okubaawo.
Tulina n'abaana abasirikale wano tukolera mu ttaka lya civil aviation naye sometimes aba civil aviation abasirikale bajja ne batusaba obusuulu osanga buli motoka ng'ajagalwako n'usulukumu bye2,000.
If you cut a tree, plant 5.
Koli Augustine, the Senior Environment Officer for Kasese District, is responsible for ensuring the sustainable use of resources, including rivers.
Because of population explosion, people are now coming near the river, to settle near the river, which is also bad. And so we need to put in place measures to ensure that the river flows without disturbing the peace of the people.
Poverty and limited opportunities drive unsustainable practices, such as the degradation of riverbanks. Many youth lack awareness of sustainable resource use.
Let these people have a user committee so that when they damage or if there is an issue, or if there are other people coming in to take the resources, they are taken through the steps that are friendly to the environment.
To extract sand from running water, workers exert significant energy and sometimes turn to substances to boost productivity.
Walaji bw'omunywa takuwa maanyi g'oboyagala. So ate akakola ko tekakutamiiza naye kakuteeka mu mmuudu ey'okukola. N'owulira ng'omubiri gutadde nga gukyamuse, n'ofuna amaanyi n'okola n'ofuna ky'olya.
Just olenge kyalo kumi kyokka ova n'eggomba n'olya bulya. N'oyingira mu mazzi nga amaanyi okuba omusenyi.
And remember that work is being done during daytime. That means when it comes during night time, this is the Gaza group. We have a group of youth criminals, an organized crime who have called themselves Gaza. These people move with pangas, with knives, and we suspect that during the day they would be now mining sand. Then when it comes to night time, that's when they engage themselves in robbing and killing people and all that kind of thing.
Sinti obakale n'obwongo tumanyi obukozesa naye muyinza kola nga tukozesa amaanyi ne mulowooza tetumanyi kukozesa ku bwongo. Nedda tulina emirimu gye tusobola okukola nga tutaddemu maanyi mangi naye lwagamba tetulina ki capital okitegeera. So nze kyensaba mufuneyo obudde naffe mutukyalireko wano nga muze kale tubeererawo okitegeera.
So we need to tackle it bit by bit and at that pace that cannot bring in conflicts. We need win-win, we need synergies.
In response, the district leadership is developing sustainable sand mining guidelines to ensure responsible resource use.
To ensure that the riverbanks are no longer tampered with, like you had said, we planted bamboo. Because it will be difficult for those guys, again, to enter the bamboo areas to extract the sand. So these are the measures that we are putting in place. Otherwise, it doesn't speak volumes if sand is extracted by people who don't care or by people who are not yet enlightened on how the environment is managed. Because the river is a living ecosystem.
These guidelines will also emphasize the economic value of sustainable practices.
But remember, it's quite challenging for such resources that if extracted unsustainably, it can cause additional issues. For example, if we say we are collecting about 5,000 per truck of sand, then they will think it's now an open access resource when it still has restrictions. And the fiscal policies, using money, we still use money as a control measure. For example, taxation. We need to tax so that people fear going into those natural resources. But there are resources which, when you tax, then they are extracted abundantly outside the carrying capacity of such a source in terms of natural resource.
Under the Local Climate Adaptive Living Facility, UNCDF has initiated projects along riverbanks to support sustainable livelihoods.
We are giving them beehives. The beehives, when trees have grown up, they will be able to establish apiaries, and then they can harvest honey and other bees products for sale and then boost their economic base.
Beyond sand and stone extraction, the removal of maram from the hills is another growing concern. The Uganda Police Force's Environmental Unit plays a critical role in tackling illegal activities that threaten the environment, though it remains understaffed.
Yeah, we have some in Fort Portal because of the forest and the rest. That is environment, those who are handling forest issues, those who are protecting the wetlands and all that kind of thing. They are there, but not really many. Mostly they are based in Fort Portal.
The unsustainable exploitation of natural resources in Kasese is a significant issue, contributing to global warming. This environmental degradation has led to increased floods, landslides, and the shrinking of glaciers on Margarita Peak. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News.
Behind this Kachano,